Hey, do you ever wake up in the morning with this weird anxiety, like you don't know where your life is going and everyone else somehow figured it out except you? You look around, people have careers, relationships, plans, direction, and you're just sitting there thinking, like, damn, what's wrong with me, right? Not something you say out loud, just this quiet feeling like you have potential, but you don't know what to do with it. For a long time, I thought that feeling meant something was broken in me. I thought I didn't fit in. I thought I was behind. I thought I was wired wrong, right? But the truth is, not fitting in was never the real problem. The real problem was that I was trying to figure out everything alone. And I didn't understand that point until a few moments happened in my life that completely woke me up. One of them I remember was when I was 19, living at my mom's place, no money, no direction, and somebody told me something that hit harder than anything I ever heard. Another was the day I had to walk out of the hospital because we couldn't afford treatment for my mom. And that moment changed everything, right? Like, really. And I remember another time was a conversation on the beach at 3 in the morning with people who felt exactly like me, but somehow they had already figured it out, right? And in this video, I'm going to tell you about each of those moments, because once I understood what they understood, everything started to move very fast. So if you ever felt like you don't belong anywhere, this video might explain your whole life. So when I was around 19 or 20 years old, this feeling followed me every single day. I would wake up already stressed, a lot of anxiety, not because something bad happened, just this pressure in my chest, like I'm wasting my life. I could see my potential. I knew I wasn't stupid. I knew I wasn't lazy, but I had no idea what I was supposed to do. I would look around and I felt like everyone else had a path. They knew what they wanted to study. They knew what job they wanted, right? They knew where their life was going. And I felt like I was just there, not moving, not growing, just stuck, right? And sometimes the thought would hit me like, why does it feel like everyone belongs somewhere except me? I grew up in Iran for the first 14 years of my life. When my family moved to the United States, that feeling got even stronger. New country, new language, new school. I didn't fit in. I didn't understand people, and people didn't understand me, right? Even in conversations, my mind would just jump from one idea to another super fast. Like, I'd be talking about one thing and already thinking about three other things. And people would look at me confused, like I was crazy, and they couldn't understand me. And at school, I never really felt like I connected with anyone. And at home, it wasn't much different. My family wanted me to become an engineer or a doctor or something stable. That's pretty much all Middle Eastern parents want for their kids. They compare me to my cousins. They had degrees, they had real jobs, they had they were doing something with their life, and I wasn't. I couldn't sit in a classroom for 8 hours. I couldn't focus on one thing long enough. I couldn't hold a normal job. But the worst part, what it was, is I could see my own potential so clearly. I knew I had something. I just didn't know where to put it. I would start something new every few weeks, new business idea, new plan, new skill. Every time I thought, like, this is it, this is what I'm meant to do, full of excitement, full of motivation. And then a few weeks later, it was gone. I used to look at successful people and it felt like they found their thing early. I call it a thing because I didn't know what it was. It's just they were focused on one thing and they could just stay with that thing for many years. Meanwhile, I couldn't stick to something for a month. And I thought that something was wrong with me, like I was broken, like I didn't have what it takes, like maybe I just wasn't meant to win. And this got even worse around when I was around 19 years old. I was living at my mom's place, no money, I had no real job, no direction, and honestly, I didn't even want a normal job, not because I was lazy, but because I didn't want a normal life. I wanted to build something, I wanted freedom, I wanted success, I wanted to do something like actually big, but I had no idea how. So most days I would just watch videos about business, about success, about mindset, and I wish I could have had the result without knowing how to get there. And the hardest part wasn't the work, it was feeling like I was completely alone. Like I was the only one thinking about this. Like everyone else was okay with a normal life and I wasn't. One day I woke up and the house was quiet. Usually my mom would be in the living room doing something, right? I could hear her. And that day, just nothing. So I went to her room and she was curled up in pain on the bed. She could barely move. We didn't know what was wrong. I said, Mom, let's go to the doctor. And the second I said that, another thought hit me even harder. Like, damn, we don't have any money. But we still went to the emergency room anyway. And I remember I ran to the front desk, trying to explain what was happening with my mom. And she slowly walked in behind me. And the first thing my mom asked the lady that was working there was, how much is this going to cost? And the lady said, like, ma'am, you're in the ER. Like, anything here is going to be over $1,000. And I remember this clearly. I remember my mom saying, like, sorry, we can't afford it. And we just left. And I remember in that moment walking out of that hospital thinking, like, damn, I never want to feel like this again. I never want money to be the reason I can't help the people I love. And that moment changed something in me, but the real wake up call came literally right after that. Around that time, I met one of my mentors, and he told me something I will never forget. He said, Mayor, you're in your 20s, you live at your mom's place, you have no money, you have no girlfriend. He said, literally, Mayor, you're where most guys' worst fear is. You're there and you're acting like everything is okay. And he wasn't trying to hurt me, and like he was just being honest, and that hit me really hard. I think I literally started crying right after that call because I knew he was right. And that's when I realized something. It's not that I don't have potential. It's not that I don't fit in. It's that I've been trying to figure everything out alone. And that was the real problem the whole time. Not long after that, I went to an event in Punta Cana, and for the first time in my life, I met people who felt exactly like me. People who never fit in, people who hated normal jobs, people who felt behind, but they weren't lost anymore. Like some of them were making more money than I thought was even possible. At that time, and it was a lot of money, and their story like just sounded like my story. And one night I remember I was talking to one of the guys, and we started talking around 5 p.m. and we didn't stop talking until like 3 in the morning. We were just walking on the beach and just talking. I think we ended up in a whole nother resort. We saw whales like in the ocean. We were like, damn, where are we? Like, we were talking for like 10 hours probably. And for the first time, that's when I felt like I wasn't broken. I just didn't have the right people around me. They show me how they think, how they work, what they do when they feel stuck. And once I stopped trying to do everything alone, like things started moving. My confidence, money, became clear on my purpose, found my direction, just found a lot of opportunities. And it wasn't because I changed who I was as much as it was that I finally had found the right environment, you know? So if you feel like you never fit in, that's not your real problem. You know, the real problem is thinking you have to figure life out by yourself. The people who end up winning aren't those who don't fit in, you know? They're the ones who find the right people and stop trying to do everything alone. And if this video, everything I shared felt like I was describing you, then you're probably exactly the kind of person I used to be. You know, if you want to know what really helped me or want guidance from someone who's been through it, just send me a message on Instagram. I always have a link to that in my description, and I read all the messages you guys send me. And I've gotten some crazy, super kind messages from you guys and some crazy stories that I resonated with, and I'm glad you guys reached out. So please, if this resonated with you, reach out to me. And on top of that, I want you to watch this next video here because I go even deeper into why people who feel different usually end up building the most different lives. I'll see you there.